Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we are talking about a game that is not out yet. So that's super exciting, right? We got the exclusive here. Of course, we are talking about Tales of the Shire, which is a new upcoming cozy game that is set in the Lord of the Rings universe. Now, I look like a nerd, but I don't really know about Lord of the Rings, and I think that's the first thing you gotta know. Do you need to be a fan of Lord of the Rings or know of Lord of the Rings to enjoy this game? No. All you need to know is that you play as like a little caring, cozy, short, hairy person. Hobbits are like Italians. So yeah, Tales of the Shire is set in the Lord of the Rings universe, and I did get to play, I can talk about the first 90 minutes of my experience, and I wanted to just let you know how this game plays, my thoughts about it, the good, the bad, there is bad, but disclaimer here, this is the beta version. Now, if you didn't realize, this game was supposed to come out this year, but they decided to delay it to next year. So some of my problems with this game may be a result of this game still being in beta, and, you know, they decided to work a little bit longer on it. So just, you know, take that with a grain of salt. So I don't really know where to start because there's mechanics that I want to talk about, the game in general I want to talk about, and then sort of the things that I didn't like or the things that can be improved upon. I guess I'm just going to start off with, man, this game looks nice. I really like the art style of the worlds. Let's start with that. So yeah, the world of this game is really cool. Again, not familiar with the source material, but basically it's just like a cozy little overgrown fantasy land. And that's all you need to realize. And it's really fun to explore. I wouldn't say that this game is open world, but it's like a big open area with linear paths and things like that. But it was really fun traversing this world and, you know, kind of getting lost in like the intertwined paths and going under, you know, little covered bridges. And I don't know, it was really fun. I felt like I was in this world, even though I'm not super familiar with it. There is this kind of cool system in this game where, depending on what quest you're doing, you can follow these like birds in the world. So basically, as you walk, birds will fly with you and like land on posts and things like that. And it kind of indicates to the player where exactly to go. I found this working most of the time, but some of the time I was like looking for the bird. So I was just like, screw it, open up my map, and then it shows you exactly where to go. I would say that this map is big enough where I was checking my map, but not to the point where it's like, oh my God, like I have to go all the way over here. It's going to take me forever. The map I think is perfect. I think it's perfect for one of these games. Cozy games, farming games don't need to be huge because you're going to have to keep going back to your house, you know, to end the day and to farm and things like that. So the map size, perfect. My one gripe with the visuals, and this won't change, you know, it's in beta. It's going to look like this when the game comes out. The characters a little ugly, you know, a little ugly, which is fine, but I don't know. It's one thing for like the world to be, you know, this amazing thing, right? Like I love the world. I love everything in it. We'll talk more about that in a second. The characters are just, they're a little goofy looking to me. I guess they match the art style. But I don't know. They look off. There's something about them. They just look like cheap, look like off. So when you first start the game, you can create your character. And I will say that the character customization is pretty good. I mean, it has all the features that you need. You can change your hairstyle, hair color, skin color, facial features. Like you could change your nose and your ears. This is the first game that I ever played that lets you adjust your feet hair. I guess again, Italian, it's like a Hobbit thing, I guess. But yeah, so the character customization is fine. I tried to make like a boy character, right? Because I want to like play as myself somewhat. And I found it a little bit hard to do. Again, this is not going to be a problem for everyone, but there's a lot of feminine options, which is totally okay. But my character just ended up being this. So I don't know. It was okay. Character customization is there. You can customize it enough where you can feel somewhat immersed in this game. But yeah, the characters, although they're written well, they're just, I don't know. They look a little funky. Now let's get to the meat of the game, the core mechanics. So the way that this game starts, you're basically, looking for a book, right? That's like your first quest. And basically it's a fetch quest. It's a long fetch quest that mixes in tutorials. So the first person you'll go to is the fisherman, right? So you go over to the fisherman. Of course, he doesn't have the book, but he teaches you how to fish. And he gives you a fishing pole and, kind of gives you a lesson on how to fish. The fishing in this game is probably the closest to like Disney Dreamlight Valley. So basically you will see like ripples in the water. You'll cast your line out and then, it goes into like a little mini game where like, depending on which way the fish is pulling, you pull the opposite way while reeling in. And then if your line gets red, you got to stop so it doesn't break. The fishing is good. I think the fishing is fine. It doesn't need to be groundbreaking. It doesn't need like a gimmicky, annoying mini game because you're going to be doing a lot of this stuff a lot, right? You're going to be fishing a ton for other things in the game, which we'll get to. So the fishing was good. I would say the fishing was solid. It's kind of fun to explore and find the different ripples and, fishing is fine. I don't know. It's basic, but basic is good sometimes. And then after you go to the fishing person, you are sent to the farming person. And of course, they don't have the book either, but they do teach you the basics of farming. Again, this is very basic. I mean, farming is basic in this game. You have seeds. The only difference is you're putting them in planters as opposed to just like soil on the ground. So you put your seeds in and then you take your watering can and water each of the plants. And you do that every day, unless it rains, obviously. So the farming is pretty basic again, which I like. I don't know about you guys, but you're going to be doing a lot of this stuff. So why complicate it? So the farming is good. The fishing is good. The next person you go to is the forager. And yeah, foraging, you just pick up like ingredients in the world. So she tells you to like follow butterflies or something, and then they take you to like mushrooms and things like that. So I do sort of like the nature connection in this game. Like I was saying, the birds guide you to your next quest. You might follow butterflies and they might take you to mushrooms, but just exploring the map and exploring the world is really cool. And, finding different ingredients, and each one of the ingredients has their own property. So like if you find wild peppercorn, they have a spicy property, where if you find a wild mushroom, they might have a bitter property. So all of that is important for the next big thing, which is cooking. I was not aware. I mean, again, I'm not really familiar with the Hobbit's game, but I wasn't, aware that cooking was going to be such a big part of this game. Now, cooking plays pretty similarly to other cozy games. You have a recipe. Again, you forage ingredients, whether you forage them, fish for them, or farm them. And then you, of course, put those ingredients together and make a meal. Pretty self-explanatory, right? Now, there are some like intricacies with this. So, for example, if you're cooking with carrots or potatoes or something, there is a little mini game where you chop the ingredients, and depending on how long you chop them, your meal will be smoother or chunkier, depending on, like, if you just chop like once or twice, of course your meal is going to be chunkier, where if you chop it to death, it's going to be like super smooth. And of course the ingredients that you put in it, those properties will go into your meal. So if you're looking to make a bitter meal, add bitter ingredients, so on and so forth. Sweet meals, sour meals. So cooking is very important because one of the biggest mechanics in this game is hosting little dinner parties, I guess. This was one of my favorite parts of this, the little preview that I played. Yeah, these dinner parties, you basically go in your hobbit house. I feel like I'm making this up. This is a real game. But you go in your hobbit house and there's like a little desk in your house, and you can actually use this to write invitations to people in your town. And it's kind of cool because this is like the way that you build relationships in this game, where you have to like invite someone over and cook a meal for them and like enjoy a meal together. And I don't know, I thought this was very wholesome, very clever. You know, that it's kind of like, you know, encouraging people to come together and share experiences and stuff. I don't know. It was very cute, but yeah, it's a big mechanic in this game. I really liked this because it makes the game very cohesive, right? There's purpose to everything. You're farming to get, you know, to get ingredients. You're scavenging and getting ingredients that way. You're fishing, and it's all for this like big event, right? Like at least it felt like a big event for me. And I love when games have purpose. I don't want to just farm to sell the crops, right? I don't want to fish just to fill out an encyclopedia. I want to like, it has to have purpose. And I like that this, you know, had a little bit of a twist. Now you invite the people over and they come over the next day. The day of the event, you get to know the preferences of your guests. So you will learn that so-and-so wants a bitter meal, or, you know, this person wants a spicy meal. And, you know, depending on the ingredients you have, each one of the ingredients has a specific property to it. So I remember the day of my dinner, my guests wanted something bitter. So I was like freaking out. I had nothing bitter in my pantry or like in my inventory. So I had to like explore this world looking for stuff that had bitter properties. And I finally found this mushroom that had a bitter property, and it felt rewarding to like get that mushroom, go back, start cooking, adding the mushroom in, and bam, I had a bitter dish, you know? So like things like that I really liked. I also was in my house and I noticed that there was a build mode, or like a decorating mode. And I've been following this game, I feel like lightly. So I didn't really know, you know, how in-depth decorating was. I knew it was there, but I didn't know how good it was. And essentially when you start the game, your house comes pre-decorated, like pre-built, obviously. It belonged to someone else before. You're kind of like taking it over. But once you go in this build mode, you can move just about anything in your house. Like, that's kind of cool to me. I know it's basic, but like, if you see like a little bottle on the ground, right, you can like pick it up and put it on a shelf. Or like you see like a little pillow on the ground, you can pick it up, put it on your couch. And I thought that was really cool. And it's definitely going to add some longevity in this game. Also, when you do these dinner parties, you can get items as rewards. So like you can get furniture, and doing certain quests, you can get furniture as a reward. So yeah, it all feels cohesive. It feels like a well thought out idea. So the decorating is cool. You can change your flooring. You can change the molding in your house. So there's definitely a lot, you know, to make this the way you want. You can even move things outside too. So like you can move your little planter box, you know, so you can have like a nice row or something. So kind of cool there. Now I know I've talked this game up quite a bit. I have mentioned the ugly characters and stuff. There were some like cons to this as well. So there were some like little visual glitches, some minor, some major. Now, again, before I go into this game is in beta. I did play the beta version. This is not the full version. If it was, we'd have bigger problems, but, let's talk about some of those. So I did see some like clipping, in the cutscenes and stuff. And basically like when you see like trees or something, they kind of flicker or whatever. I saw a lot of that, playing it and in some of the cutscenes. There was, I don't know what it was, but there was like this text box that kept popping up. Like you probably saw it already in a lot of my footage, but like it kept popping up, and it popped up like every minute of the game. There's no way that this is supposed to happen. So it was like this little like thought or text box that kept, it was like the same text that came. I even forgot what it said. Like, I don't know. I'll put it on the screen right now, but it kept popping up. and it was like every minute. I played this for 90 minutes, kept popping up every minute. So I even like went to sleep. I started new quests, it just didn't go away. So I don't know what that was about. I hope that's not a thing. Also, I said before about traversal. The map is, like I said, it's big, and I was getting lost, not because I didn't know where I was going. Well, yeah, that was, but some of the mechanics in the game just didn't work. Like, you're supposed to follow the birds to get to the next destination. Sometimes the birds, wouldn't lead you there. Like, you couldn't find the birds. Or on the map, when you click on something, you can set like a waypoint. And when you set a waypoint, you'll see like a little yellow line, telling you where to go. Sometimes that yellow line would just disappear and like go away. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm on my own. So yeah, little things like that. And they may seem like little things, but little things can add up, right? And little things can become big things. Little glitches too, like this poor guy here. Can someone check on him? I don't know what's going on with him, but I did notice that. It was pretty funny, but something that definitely needs to get ironed out for the full build. Another thing, I think this is just a me gripe. But when you are doing the quests and stuff, there is no voice acting. Now, I know voice acting isn't a huge deal, but I feel like if you're dealing with a property as big as this, like a Star Wars, or in this case, a Lord of the Rings, there should be a little bit more polish to it. So I was looking for some voice acting, and there are like little grunts and little moans or whatever, but at least for the major points, right? Like that opening cutscene with Gandalf, like I wanted something, right? So I don't know, maybe that's going to be in the final version. I'm not sure, but that was kind of something that I noticed. So what are my thoughts overall about Tales of the Shire? Going into this, I definitely had an open mind going into this, but this wasn't a game that was really like on my radar. A game that I wasn't like too excited about. After playing this, I will say that I'm a lot more interested in it. I like the mechanics. It all makes sense. It all plays well. It all, is very cohesive, like I said before. The characters, couldn't care less about. I think the writing is good, but I'm not connected to the characters yet. But that might just be a me thing. That might just be like, Pat, you need more time with this game. And I think that's what it is. So visually, it's great. The world is great. The mechanics are great. And I could see different elements in this game that will make me play it more. The design elements, I could definitely see that, especially when the seasons change, which is something I didn't get to experience. But decorating, there is also an encyclopedia where, you can collect a bunch of fish or a bunch of bugs, or there's even like an encyclopedia for things that you can just forage for. So I thought that was really cool too. So I do see some elements where it's like pulling me in, right? As far as where I would play this, normally I'm a Switch boy. I did play this, of course, on the PC. It doesn't have a Switch build yet. I think I would prefer to play this on the Switch, or I would prefer to play this on the PC. Sorry. I think the Switch version, it ain't going to be good. I just can tell, right? But it runs very well on this, on the PC. And, yeah, I don't know. Pretty positive outlook on this game. Pretty positive experience. Let me know what you thought of the footage that I showed and some of my talking points. Are you on the fence? Are you day one gonna get this? Are you not interested? Let me know in the comments. I'm definitely interested to hear your thoughts, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out, everyone. Oh, and thanks for letting me play this early. Yeah, thanks for picking me. You could have picked anyone. You did pick a lot of other people, but I gotta go.